This little one was a chunky 10-pounder, but surprised everyone by floating up before the cord was snipped. The doctors were baffled, but the mama scooped up that baby like it was a balloon. Once Grandma regained her wits, she asked doctors to cut the cord cut, and they zipped back home. Since the dad had been leaving home, Grandma chose the name Oscar for this new addition. On their first night together, they all fell into a deep sleep. However, the next morning, Grandma woke up to find Oscar missing. She panicked and quickly looked up to see him sleeping on the ceiling. With a bit of effort, she managed to get him down and hugged him tightly. His mother beamed with love, calling him her sweet little angel. However, Grandma was concerned because there were four chatty women in town who were not only mean-spirited but also loved to gossip. If they found out about Oscar's supernatural abilities, they would surely spread it all over town. The words are not yet finished. The four old ladies arrived with a gift, but didn't notice anything unusual about Oscar because his mother had simply tied him up with a belt. After politely bidding them farewell, Mother hung a quilt from the ceiling to keep Oscar from bumping into them. A couple of years have gone by. Throughout this time, Grandma never allowed Oscar to leave the house, afraid of others giving them strange looks. On that day, when his mother noticed Oscar's longing for the world being their home, she sewed him a dress with the scales tucked into its pockets, so he could venture out like anyone else. However, his grandmother put a stop to it, protesting loudly and forbidding Oscar from taking a single step outside. Granny, with her primary school education, took on the role of Oscar's teacher in the following days. However, to ensure that Oscar stayed in the room, she closed all the doors and windows, which was quite hard for a young child. Oscar grew increasingly curious about the world being his home, causing his mother great concern. To ease his restlessness, she began taking him on secret walks at night while his grandmother slept, and even ventured out with him during the day. While his mother was shopping, a girl named Natalia accidentally ran into Oscar. Feeling guilty, Oscar offered to help Natalia carry her water home. However, after the long walk, Oscar grew tired and decided to secretly discard the two scales in his pocket. When they got to Natalia's house, she offered to bring in the water, but there weren't any more heavy things left with him, and Oscar wouldn't let go of the water. Natalia was puzzled and tried to snatch it back, but as soon as she grabbed the water, she became even more confused. Natalia had playfully taken the water bottle from the Oscar, when suddenly, his hands went weightless, his feet lifted from the ground, and he soared up to the roof. The girl, who had tumbled to the ground, gazed up in disbelief with her widened eyes. The boy who had the ability to fly was known as Oscar, and he was born with a mysterious anti-gravity power that even baffled Newton. When his feet left the ground, Natalia quickly hugged him to prevent him from soaring away. She then hurried inside the house and stuffed all the books into her bright pink backpack, which she gave to Oscar. She promised to keep his flying ability a secret and not share it with anyone. Meanwhile, Oscar's mother eagerly awaited his return. Finally, Oscar arrived home with Natalia. "How dare you are? How dare you leave alone without a word?" In the following days, Natalia would always seek out Oscar to play together and watch Batman cartoons and have lots of fun on the swings. Over time, the two grew to be best friends. But one day, while Natalia's grandmother was chatting with Oscar's mother, she mentioned, "My granddaughter really thinks your son is just fantastic. She says he can fly around like Batman." When Mom heard this, her expression shifted with concern. She feared that Oscar's secret would be exposed. As a result, for the following days, whenever Natalia approached Oscar, Mom repeatedly denied her and kept Oscar at home, even preventing him from attending school. Mom won't let Oscar go to school. The gossipy old ladies instantly spread this news, so the Ministry of Education came to the door. There was nothing they could do. His mother sent him to school again, but they had to hang their backpacks outside before class. This was a problem for them, so Mom took Oscar out of school. This is the reality. Oscar has the superpower to fly, but cannot live a normal life. To ensure Oscar's healthy growth, his mother and grandmother relocated to the mountains with him. As years passed, Oscar matured, his mother aged, and his grandmother departed. Yet, to this very day, Oscar holds tightly onto his adorable pink backpack wherever he ventures. While watching TV, Oscar discovered a variety show that recruited individuals with unique talents. Impressed, he quickly wrote down the address. After years of being confined to his home, this could finally be his chance. So, while his mother slept, Oscar left a message on a note, grabbed his small school bag, and set out. The guy in the spandex suit with the flag design stood tall on a high platform, then leaped off without any safety gear from the 100 meters height. Just as you thought the show was over, he gracefully lifted back up, bringing cheers from the impressed audience. Oscar's spectacular performance instantly made him a crowd favorite. A talent agent approached him and offered a $10 million yearly contract along with a spacious double-story villa in order to promote Oscar as a superstar. The agent created a persona portraying him as a troubled schoolboy. This involved showcasing Oscar's childhood clothes and showcasing his impressive entrance exam scores at an exhibition. However, the agent also included a shoulder bag that even did not belong to Oscar, which were clearly fake. Even more tedious is the fact that the agent claims Oscar's mother mistreats him to provoke sympathy from the public. This infuriates Oscar, as he felt manipulated and controlled like a puppet, which is not how he wants to live his life. Nevertheless, due to the contract, Oscar is obliged to follow their instructions and continue performing on stage. But this time, there was a particularly important audience member on stage. Midway through the show, he couldn't bear it any longer.
Non sono un angelo! Cosa applaudite? Non sono un angelo!
When asked by the manager about his future plans, Oscar nonchalantly replied, "Just say that I'm flying away." However, the manager, with a twinge of guilt, announced the following day that Oscar had passed away. The scene shifts in Oscar, disguised as a person with disabilities, was leading a normal life again, and he has received a job as a hotel receptionist. During an unexpected encounter, Natalia immediately recognizes Oscar, and the two reunite after a long absence. They reminisce about their childhood days and joyfully spend their evenings at home. During the day, they go to work, and after work, they go on dates. As they ventured out, Oscar no longer clutched a petite school bag, instead carrying Natalia. Even during their cinematic outing, they cuddled closely, allowing their sentiment to blossom, and eventually, they became couples. Not long later, Natalia is expecting their baby and was peacefully awaiting its arrival at home. Fortuitously, Oscar finally landed a job where he could put his abilities to good use, scaling skyscrapers and cleaning windows in his Batman outfit. It really seems that he has found use of his superpowers.